Hello, everybody. Welcome to Center Stage. I'm Rajiv, and it's my honor to present Rawlinson Rivera. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Global Field CTO at Cohesity, which I will definitely get to because I think you've had a very unorthodox career path, which is very inspiring. But I'd love to, start with your personal journey. And I know you've had a lot of questions about this, but I'm super curious now because, why rollerblading? Right? You have pro skaters and you have all these other professions. What drew you to rollerblading?
I think it was the times, to be honest.
Which what were we talking about, the 80s?
It was kind of, you couldn't say the 80s, but it was kind of more I think it was late 90s, kind of breaking into the 2000s. I think it was 96, 97 when I started.
There we go.
But it was just not normal.
And this was in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you just because you kind of drawn to a passion, you have this athletic ability, and people are drawn to whatever, football, baseball, what have you. But what was it about rollerblading that just called it for you?
I would say it changed every day. Everything was different. So the change for me, it was needed, and it kind of drove that. And my background was I played professional baseball before that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I quit that to do that.
Wow.
And it was just the way that's what kind of drove me to even to where I am today.
Yeah. So do you rollerblade today?
No, actually I don't.
You don't?
I really don't want to break my wrist anymore. My hand. I can't
risk
a lot of this.
It is a little bit more of a riskier endeavor, I would say. When I was driving, I was if you think about the Olympics, they have winter speed skating. They should have summer speed rollerblading.
We did.
You did.
So the Olympics that was in Atlanta.
Okay.
Tony Hawk, me, and some of the other guys who were kind of because we started the X Games.
Wow.
So we pioneered that.
Wow.
The very first X Games we were there in Rhode Island. So it was so that some of those folks had the chance to go to.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It was the golden days, as I call them.
Right. And so while you're doing this, what I understand is you also had this passion about IT and computers, and you were hacking. And so tell me about that. How did that start?
So I always had this sort of passion for technology.
Okay.
Skating gave me a lot of room because I traveled. And it all started because I wanted to play a baseball game in the airplane with another buddy of mine across the aisle.
Okay.
So back then, Windows NT could not be networked, and it's not like things are today.
Right.
And that started this whole thing. I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to get into this.
Yeah.
And that drove whichever way I've turned to now, because that was the beginning.
Okay. So you just knew you had this passion and this sort of you were wired in a certain way where you wanted to solve
hands-on. And I didn't know anything about computers.
Right.
I learned how to figure it all on my own.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because again, I think you don't have the typical career path in terms of how people get to where you get to. I know you've done a lot of certificates. Tell me about that. How many certificates do you have?
I had them all, but now they're probably expired.
Yeah. Well, right. Technology keeps changing.
And that was the thing. That was so for me the appealing fact of that and how it became something that I just kept going because it changed every 3 months, every 6 months.
Right.
So I remember in the industry there was a thing you have folks that are known as a certificate junkie.
Yeah.
So that was me.
Right.
If there was a new Windows thing, there was a new whatever VMware thing, I was there. Me.
Right.
But in time it just kind of became
Right. And now you have all these sort of boot camps where you can level up your skills and get certified in full stack, front end, back end.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, I'm a big believer in a bunch of different ways people get into where they get to, and one of the things for me is getting in the state of flow. And I've kind of really been obsessed with that, right? Because when you can do that, your productivity goes through the roof, and magic can happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you experienced that, or when you get into a state of flow, you have these engineers that are wired in, and they're kind of just doing their thing,
Right.
What does that mean for you? How do you achieve that kind of state?
For me, so when I started, I got an incredible opportunity at VMware.
Okay.
And I was put into the R&D organization, and it was just, and I realized that when I hit that point, whenever I was around folks, and I tend to think we all think different.
Yes.
We all think to fit different ways, but I kind of So I bridge two things, which is what people have told me that I'm able to do. I have an engineering side and I have this sort of business logic side where we tend to design with a requirement. Somehow I get in the middle.
Okay.
And that's where I come up with things that are not meant to be, or like things that are not, or they've been overlooked, or we haven't really gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But that's where I excel the most.
Got it.
And then it's not that I have this idea, I will prototype it. Because I just go do it.
Yeah.
And then it's always, it's been sort of the way where they end up somewhere.
Yeah.
When I was at VMware, I would do things like the VMworld events. Mm-hmm. You would see these things that are presented in the keynotes. I created them. They would come to me like, I have this idea.
Wow.
Or Pat, when they say, I need a tidal wave, I was like, give me 48 hours. Uh-huh. And that's when I would kind of get into those modes. But it was like, but it's inspired by the people around me.
Right.
We do all this stuff. And but I just... So
tell me more about VMware, because I know you spent a lot of time there, and you have some mentors from there that really inspired you and sort of shaped kind of who you are today. Opened up this opportunity at Cohesity. What were some of the highlights for you at VMware?
I think I started kind of getting into we solve a lot of problems. There's software use the software to do certain things, and then I started sort of interconnecting things beyond what we were doing.
Did you plan to want to work there? Did you have
no.
I want to go to VMware?
No.
How did that even happen? How did that?
I first worked for Microsoft.
Yeah.
I was an instructor.
Okay.
I met a buddy at a boot camp, which you mentioned. His name is Chris McCain, who was an instructor. He heard about my background. He goes, "You're like," and I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You'd be a great instructor." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." Uh-huh. I couldn't even speak in public until I got to learn the TV stuff that I did.
Yeah.
But it was because I was funny and I could just translate the message a little different and just kind of make it so that people can consume it.
Charisma.
Yeah, that was it. Right. To be honest, I could just relatable to people, like, hey, it was just fun.
Right.
And then we started working with Microsoft doing a bunch of stuff, and then he ended up at VMware. Then he introduced me to VMware. So then out of nowhere, VMware made an offer. Like, what's this? No, it was just like, okay. And then at VMware, spent 11 years. Then I just went like many levels, many layers. But I was an instructor. I went all the way from an instructor to being in the R&D organization.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's talk about Cohesity. So, global field CTO. What does that mean?
A lot of traveling.
Okay.
A lot of more than I thought it was, because Mohit really sticks to it.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I got you for a reason."
Right.
And then I'm always on the road. And
you're evangelizing the product. You're talking about it. You're educating people.
And then I bring back a lot of the things that we sort of identified. We're a new company. We're doing a new thing. So new ideas come up all the time. Yeah. And then sometimes I make up stuff on the fly, and then we just go back to engineering. Hey guys, and it just. Right. It just happens.
You gather the intel, you bring it back, figure out how you can manifest that into something.
I have the ideas on the spot. Yeah. If I can visualize, if I can see it, it's a matter of like the details behind it. Can we really?
I mean, that's a rare talent.
And I do it right there. So it's like, take it back, and we can do this, and we just go with it.
Okay. So I know there's a lot of talk about hyper-converged storage trends. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about that. Where do you see that space heading?
So my journey with this whole hyper-convergence thing started at VMware. And funny how I end up with the guy that actually invented the whole term. Mohit was the one who created that from Nutanix, one of the companies he founded earlier. Uh-huh. So for me, the value of where that would go is basically, it was a business thing too. What you achieve with that, a lot of folks, technical people like myself, just kind of, they start going towards the technology and what happens there. For me, it never was.
Okay. I
see the value in why you converge these systems, these platforms, and because they're all in one now, it reduces the management. All the value that comes into one, I see it.
Okay.
At VMware, we were doing that.
Yeah.
But I was already part of the team who delivered this part called vSAN, which is like that was my baby at VMware. And we fixed a major problem. I think it was just for a solution going forward. It will continue to evolve and be better than it is today.
Okay.
Cohesity was doing that on another playing field. So I felt like, look, if I already achieved this here, I made a difference with this. Mm-hmm. I saw Cohesity's approach to be even greater than what it was going to be.
Right.
Because it requires, or it dealt with something much, what I would consider more important and better than what we were just particularly doing.
Which would be what?
In this particular case, we process, we maintain, we manage, we store information.
Got it.
Right? Information is the key to the world, period. It's good that you can run it, you can run systems fast, you can run workloads that would deliver X amount of speed or whatnot, but when you have the data,
right,
it's where the changes really come along. And seeing what's coming and what was happening to the times, it made perfect sense. That there's just no, like, we're at the point where now humans can no longer manage effectively the management of information.
There's more risk when humans touch it.
The minute we put our hands on it, we're at risk immediately.
Yeah.
But now the thing is that it grows so fast and it grows in so many ways, and there's so many silos of data. So when you start thinking about why is it that we have these sort of data leakage, and that we have WikiLeaks and things of this nature, because there's multiple copies of information in multiple places that you can no longer trace it or keep track of it.
Right.
It becomes very inefficient, very risky.
Yeah.
In a world today, we can't afford that.
Yeah. So how does AI and machine learning play to that? So
the way in which we could leverage that in a lot of cases is when it's machines that are either fault scenarios, things of that nature, and we leverage that in some of the products that Cohesity has as well. We alert the customer when things are happening, but we want to push it beyond that. So some of the things that I get into when it specifically comes to machine learning and AI specifically is functionalities where humans are eliminated, which is the reality is just eliminating risk from a process that should be automated and done by a system and not by someone who can press a comment and bring down S3 in AWS where it happened.
Right.
It
happens
quite frequently.
Yeah.
So, but with information now, it's crucial. You have things that are not applicable yet to the States, for example, but when you deal with this compliance, GDPR,
sure, in Europe,
it's 4% of your profit.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm going to...
Big time.
It's like... This company is a $50 billion company.
Yeah.
The profit's in 4%.
Yeah.
That's huge, right?
Huge. Right.
So things of this nature come into play now, and it has to do with information. So I saw this, and some of the things where I kind of saw that coming, and after talking to Mohit, I said, "This is where this is going." He goes, "Yeah,
100%."
And it was just like, "This is I know it. This when you fix a problem, a major problem,
right,
and you do something where it becomes like a service that you're doing. That's infinite. That never stops. And with information, that's what happens.
Right.
And that's what we're doing.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the primary and secondary storage space. What are the trends you're seeing? Where's it going? Tell me about that a little bit more.
So the primary and secondary storage space, the definition of that will go away. I think personally will go away.
Okay. Consolidate?
Yeah, because it's the use.
Yeah.
Today, what qualifies primary and secondary is either speed or latency or speed.
Okay.
And for us, it's just basically the use cases we cater to tend to be the ones that don't have active data, hot data, in the sense of like high I/O, low latency. That's not what we do, right? We store data where it's not frequently accessed. It could be, but it doesn't matter. But the term that we use is secondary storage. But what happens when you say secondary? Everybody thinks you're second best.
Right.
We're the very best at what we're doing right now, and there are many great solutions in other companies out there. What we do right now, we're the very best.
Yeah.
Because no one does like we do. Mm-hmm. So it comes to a point where when we are managing or our systems is either moving your information or transforming your information or putting it somewhere else, that becomes something that it's not easy to do. But the way we do it, just like it's not
seamless.
Yeah, it eliminates a lot of the risks that are exposed, by us. But the multiple user interfaces, the multiple things that we do.
Right.
When you get rid of all of that, what you do essentially is you're improving business quality, operational efficiencies, and all these things it's what's needed to manage information.
Right. And you have some great customers. You guys, I know some of your customers include Cisco, Transfer Giants, the Lending Club, Hyatt, amazing.
SoftBank is like a regular investor now.
SoftBank, and I know they're opening up some doors in Japan. Yeah. Love to hear more about that. Yeah. Also, just in terms of verticals, where are you seeing sort of the most traction and sort of the biggest demand?
Everywhere data is sensitive. For me specifically, from the very beginning, I saw where Cohesity would make the most impact is when it comes to, healthcare, finance, because we have a very unique ability to kind of sifting through the data and see what's in it, so that whenever there's a compliance act that they need to adhere to, we could facilitate that without having to move the data.
Right.
That's one of the things that introduces a lot of risk. Moving data just to get information out of your data, it's a big risk. And traditionally, when you protect, when you move, when you archive, when you retain, data is sent somewhere and you lose visibility. And that exposes you to either potential losses, you don't have the same hand up on the competition that you would want to, you kind of lose visibility. So therefore it costs you sort of to not having that access. And then it could get even worse.
Yeah. You mentioned compliance a couple of times. You have GDPR in Europe. What's happening here in the U.S. in terms of compliance? So
there's so many regulatory compliance acts, and the traditional ones for the different verticals could be HIPAA, could be PCI, could be SOX. And the thing is that that's so important because that's where the biggest margin of error exists, and being able to. When you're thinking about running systems, at VMware we have ways of running systems and keep them in a particular segment for whatever reason is. Here we're talking about keeping unstructured data or from anywhere for that retention time, applying those things and doing them at a level that haven't been done before, where you want validation, you want this sort of thing that once it happens is reported on so that you don't have to kind of go through the process of, for the auditing. And there's a lot of things that get lost in there, but when you put that into a system and you eliminate the sort of complexity of doing that, it's just... that's what the world needs.
Right.
And that's what
simplify.
It's just simplification. Yeah. And I tell you this based on experience, which I learned at VMware. The hardest thing to do is to introduce simplicity.
100%. Across all boards.
Oh, everywhere. Simplify any process. You simplify anything.
Right.
It is really, really, really hard. Because you want to make it simple, but you don't want to take away from what you had before.
Yeah.
And this is where a lot of the challenges come along. But also you can take something that was designed and complex and try to make it simple afterwards.
And so I have a marketing background. So part of my job is how do we simplify what we're shipping, right? In terms of messaging, in terms of positioning, who are the decision makers and the personas you're trying to sell to. What's your take on sort of like product marketing, and how do you market your products in an effective way so that these decision makers within these verticals understand the value proposition, simplified so that they understand what the ROI is going to be?
Value, business value. And where you're marketing, because there's technical marketing, and then there's the marketing of the solution of the product you're selling, right?
Yeah.
So I think in a lot of cases, and I've learned this because I've been through all those roles. To be honest with you, I was in technical marketing at VMware. I've done it all.
Yeah.
So the messaging is different, the conversation is different, the audience is different.
Right.
But I've always kind of leaned towards the business value, what I'm getting out of it. I kind of steered away from what the technology piece is.
Yes.
Because no one really cares, to be honest.
Unless the stakeholder is a technical
person. It doesn't care.
Right.
What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? This. However you do it, not my problem.
Right.
So I want to make sure that it's safe. It's within the budget that I want to spend.
Right.
And I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, it's what at the end of the day is the kind of what makes things happen. I think.
Got it. So just let me bring it back to Cohesity. Tell me about the ecosystem that you're building. You're giving customers choice and capabilities. I know you've talked about that. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So, when we first went to market, we went to market with most storage companies were selling appliance. The thing is that we're not a storage type of company. We happen to be software that runs on storage type of hardware, but our stuff runs everywhere, public cloud, on premises, whatnot. And it's exactly the same thing. Now, when it comes to giving customers a choice for an ecosystem, when we initially started, we were seen or identified as a data protection company. But it was wrong. We've never just been that. Data protection is one of the applications that run on top of the platform. From being a platform, we complement infrastructure, whether it be on premises or a cloud. So if today a customer uses another solution, because that's another thing too, another misconception in the enterprise, no one is into ripping and replacing.
Right.
If you made an investment, that is a sunk cost that I'm going to squeeze until the very end.
As much as you can.
Right?
Get out of it. Yeah.
Rip and replace is not the way. No one really likes it. It has to be a major thing. It's a loss. And if you're the one who's going to say it's on you.
Right.
So we complement the infrastructures.
Got it.
You use what you need from us if we fit whenever you need to. And if you happen to have a data protection product, for example, already, we become, for example, the target where you store that data. Why would you do that? Well, because we have the suitable architecture for that. It delivers the modern type of data efficiency services that are going to give you the results that you expect.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And then if you want to later on at a later time, you consider maybe what it's already part of that, and you want to use data protection, the data mobility, all this. You can do that.
You can do that.
But that's there.
Right. Got it. So let me circle it back. You mentioned that you travel a lot. You're staying super busy. You're coming up with ideas in the moment. Mm-hmm. How do you sort of maintain work-life balance? Like, what do you do for that? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I work.
Yeah. Is that even possible?
There's a really big effort at work to always let's try to do this. You know, everyone makes an effort to say, hey,
work-life balance. Right.
I can tell you this. Mohit tells me, don't go to bed late.
Right.
Your eyes are super red. I'm like, yeah. What time? I was up at 6. Why? You know, this thing just came to mind, and I had to just kind of get up.
Right. Right.
But that's how I am. Not everyone's probably wired like that. I go to bed and I get up because I have an idea.
Yeah.
And I have to go get up and either do something to remember it.
Right. Right.
And yeah, we disconnect. We have, you know, but to be honest with you, I'm always working because I work with my mind.
Yeah.
So
right.
That never stops.
Right. That sort of fuels you and inspires you.
Oh, totally. 100%. And to the point is, that is very, very similar to what rollerblading was.
To what?
To what rollerblading.
Rollerblading. Okay. So you're getting into that state of mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're tapping into something.
So the link there is
that's physical.
Yeah, and it's also
and cerebral.
And it's continuously changing.
Yeah.
Skating, it's not the same. You roll down the street the same way, but the tricks we did, the things we came up with, the things we invented.
Right. Right.
Same things happening on TV.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so again, we think about like the state of flow, like skiing or surfing or things like that, where things are constantly changing. Yeah. Your brain is always on alert, and you have to be in that moment. And so that is really important because when you're in that moment,
that's when
creativity, is exponential, and time fades away, and you're just in this state that's really, where you have to be sort of on point. Yeah. So let me bring it back to a little bit more fun. Thank you for all the information on Cohesity. It's been amazing, and VMware and your background. I'm also big into daily habits. Mm-hmm. Do you have a daily habit? And if so, what would that be?
No, I don't actually.
No. I
get up and I work.
Okay.
I try to make things every day though.
Yeah.
I try to make a difference in what I'm doing every day.
Okay, so let me double click on that. What does a typical day look like for you? I know it changes every day, but I mean, what does that look like for you?
The only thing that's normal in a day is that I see my kids, hey buddy, go to the office.
Okay.
In the office, there's always something that I'm trying to either correct. Mm-hmm. It could be going from utilization of something. It doesn't even have to be technical. It's just a function, or there's a process that I want to eliminate. There's something that I want to introduce, to minimize or diminish the risk of what's going on there. Okay. Just sometimes you can't really eliminate it because by doing something like that, you add yet again another part of the risk.
Right.
So I tend to look and see what I can sort of fix and patch, but they're always based on human-driven things that we do every day, where I see like things kind of get out of control with what we do, and then a lot of times it also doesn't include just what we do.
Yeah.
Because I'm not only focused on the stuff that I'm working on. This was a completely new thing and very different than what it was for me at VMware.
VMware, yeah.
There's two different worlds, right? In terms of the use cases and things that we serve and we purpose. At VMware, I brought Cohesity together with some of the stuff we're doing to fix a particular problem for a particular purpose.
Yeah.
Now at Cohesity, I go the other way. I look at everything else because now I'm much smaller and there are many more options. So I look at how many more things can I kind of integrate or kind of put together in a way that our customers could think of a solution that would be more beneficial to what they're trying to do. So it's always
what advice would you give sort of the younger generation, the millennials who are trying to crack the code in this industry?
Passion will drive everything. It's if you're passionate about it, put some time, you dedicate it. If you love it, if you like it, you will know that you're working.
Yeah.
I was at VMware for 11 years.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I worked a single day.
Wow. What drove you there? What was it that motivated you?
The innovation, the passion, whatever.
The people you're around.
When you're
culture, the environment.
I remember that I got moved from the engineering second floor to a corner office downstairs, and I was so upset. I was like, no, why? I want to be in the middle with the rest of the guys.
Right, where the energy is.
Because that would be, something comes up and I would just point out, hey, this, and they would come and, we would get into it right away.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lose that. Cohesity is the same role like everywhere. But some of us are remote and sort of different places, but it never stops. You just kind of keep going. It's just like, it's good. And the best part about that is the CEO sits on the floor with everybody else.
There you go.
So if I want to, anyone just, hey, and just Mohit is like,
bounce the idea off.
He is.
Yeah.
Next level genius. So it's like you can just go to him and he'll say, wow. And
that's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah. What's on your playlist?
Let's see. God, a lot of really 80s rap,
Okay.
hip hop stuff, like R&B stuff, like old school stuff. 112, like so
Nice.
it's hilarious.
Run DMC.
Yeah. Actually, Run DMC's after they whatever their new DJ is someone who also was a rollerblader's friend of mine, and we like DJ Ruckus. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's
Small world.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower, what would that be? Superpower.
Smarter, maybe. There was a movie that I forgot the name, but it was Bradley Cooper. He took a pill. There was the smartest dude on the planet. I forgot the name was. Huh?
Limitless.
I want that pill.
You want that?
I want to be that. I just want to be what he got as a result of that pill.
Got it.
I would love to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Rawlinson. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you being here. Global Field CTO at Cohesity. This is Center Stage with Rajiv signing off. Until next time.